Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady viewing at home, thank you all for joining us because it's another edition of Sports Talk coming right at you. It's your boy Jerm. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all know my name. Y'all know who the fuck I am. I got my man, the co-hostess with the mostest. He told me not to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Oh
Bowling
my
League
god.
champion. I got
Oh my god.
in.
See, this is why you can't take people nowhere putting all my business out in these streets like this. I appreciate it, but also my business out in these streets. But thank you. I appreciate it. It was a fun season. Uh Glad we could get the dub. I gotta feel like I built a shelf for all the pins that I'm winning so I can put them somewhere. But
You got to, bro. You got to. But
we're gonna see.
y'all already know the big news story that we were going to be leading off with. You should have guessed it by now. LeBron to Philly. LeBron James signs a 2-year. It's only worth $8 million with a player option second year deal. He from based off all of the reports, he pretty much just leaned in on Philly after they made the Jaylen Brown trade. So that was where I picked. That was where I thought made the most sense for him to get out of the West to go to the East and really have a chance to really compete for a title at the highest level. Um, just initial thoughts, Cam. What are you thinking?
I thought Philly was like the longest shot option for
Really?
all this. Because like from a narrative standpoint, right? Because you think about it, like, okay, he's not worried about the money. He said he wants to compete, but like based on the teams that were on the short list, people could have questions about that. Not saying that he didn't, but so like not worried about the money. He did. He said he didn't do it for family. So I'm like, okay. I was in Cleveland or Miami because both those teams were closer to being in the finals. Like I think both those teams have been in the finals in the past decade, and the 76ers have not.
Think that at the end of the day, he is really banking off that talent being able to gel together. And I think that at the end of the day, Cleveland, I just don't think he believes in Donovan Mitchell or James Harden enough. And Miami, maybe it's a little bit of Pat Riley. Maybe it's a little bit of, I think that LeBron, again, I said this before about him. He can have more narrative motivations than most superstar players where he's really trying to create a story. So I think that there was a big part of it of I want to go to Philly. I want to go somewhere that hasn't won a title in so long.
Hmm.
When Rich Paul said that he had been probably like he had damn near been penciled in to go to New York and had they not won the title, that's when I was like, okay, he's got that type of mindset. He
And no, he asked to go to the Spurs too, and both the Knicks and the Spurs said no.
Wait, they both said no?
And it makes sense. But
And so he reached out to them. Mm. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Um, that's shameless. He really does want a ring, man. He's
I
serious.
mean, I think
He just really wants a ring.
reaching to see like what his options were, maybe different than saying, "Oh, I want to be on this particular team." If that makes sense, I think there is a distinct difference between saying like, "Hey, what are y'all looking like cap wise? What are your needs?" Like in terms of kind of making the evaluation, if you want to make that kind of short list push, if you will, is different than saying, "Hey, I want to be on this team. Please have me." Right? I think those are different conversations, and maybe they were had at the same time, the same phone call. Maybe they were had at different times. But I think LeBron has taken the road less traveled when it comes to quote unquote ring chasing or like joining different teams than
Yeah.
most. So like I would want to give him that benefit of the doubt that he was maybe just trying to say like, what are my options really at 40 years old, year 23
You
going
know
into year
what? They
24?
weren't on the whiteboard that Rich Paul presented, so I can't really say that that's crazy that they were called at least or reached out to. So I'm not gonna harp on that for too long. I'm gonna get back to the main point. I I think when it comes to Miami, he probably just wanted to do something new, like I said. And when it comes to Philly, really what it's going to come down to, can all of these guys who have this is a team that's going to be full of egos. Embiid is still an MVP winner. LeBron is LeBron. You've got Tyrese Maxey who has something to prove, and VJ Edgecombe who has something to prove.
I think Tyrese Maxey was an All NBA player last year, wasn't he? I feel like he was.
I'm going to
Mm,
Google that. I believe so, but I'm not entirely sure. But the reason why I say that is that if they're not
yeah, he was All NBA third team last year.
okay, if they're not able to really come together in terms of ego, this could be a team that blows up, that does something that really doesn't live up to potential. But I I'll be honest with you, I just don't see it. I see LeBron at this point in his career. If he really wants a ring this bad, at this point, I think him going to Philly, knowing that he's probably going to, especially when Embiid is healthy, not be the third option at best. I think he understands that he just wants that ring. He just wants numbers. He just wants number 5. He wants number 6. He wants to get that shit, and he wants to just be able to tie Jordan. Because I think he feels like he has everything else. So if he was at least able to tie the rings, then I think the debate will be over in his mind.
So the thing is, like, I think if he was ring chasing, why would you go to Philly? You like that's also my counter argument, right? Your main superstar, if you consider Joel Embiid a superstar, which I think when he's healthy should, rarely
At this
healthy.
point, at this
Hasn't
point,
played
I'll lean towards it being Tyrese.
right, okay. Tyrese, okay, he's new, he's young, he's a like an athletic guard who can score pretty well. How does that where would you compare Tyrese to Luca?
I wouldn't,
Okay, say more.
in the sense that that he's just not on the same. He's close, but like Luca is just a different level.
Mhm. Okay.
And
Would you put Jalen Brown on that level? I'm gonna let you finish in 1 second, but just kinda to make the point.
Jalen Brown is very close, but I still wouldn't put him on Luca's level just because of what he can do. He's very, very close, but I would still take Luca over him if I was starting the franchise tomorrow.
Okay, so if you start a franchise tomorrow, you're trying to win a ring, and you leave someone who's better than all the people you'll be playing with. Granted, the Lakers do have some roster construction problem.
That's the point. It's
R-
abundance of talent.
Is that well, but like, what is Philly's bench? Who is it? Who's on there? Is it me, you, and Mario? Hmm. You, me, and Link? Hmm. Like what it have? Like that is the thing that like you need. If we have learned nothing from these past 3 years of playoffs and NBA championship runs, bench depth is vitally like you have to have it.
I agree.
So again, I say I don't know if, and honestly, here I think we enter that age old conundrum of do you trade for the big superstar but empty out your bench to do it? Like some years you would say yes, other years you would say no. Granted, Philly didn't have to really give up anything. Like $8
Right.
million
They got him
dollars
for
is,
2
I think,
years and
lower than
8 million.
the mid-level exception.
Right.
If I were, I think mid-level exception is like 12.3. Let me double check.
I just don't really see. I understand what you're talking about the bench and everything, but I still feel like Philly should be fine. Like, are you really saying that you think that there's a chance that they would be worse than a 3 seed?
Yes, possible for sure. You have Detroit. They're not going to get any worse. Especially if Jalen Duren decides, oh, I want to play basketball again. No trade to Jalen Duren, but that playoff performance was significantly below the caliber of
He
player
was
that we know him to
ass.
be.
He was historical levels of ass. It's okay to just
I don't know. We've seen historical lows of ass that at least weren't 10-7 in the playoffs. But like historic, I will way less than expectation. Absolutely, definitely less than how much money he was trying to ask for in the offseason, which I hate that for him. But Detroit, New York. You can add in the Cavs. Okay, so the Heat. Do
I'll
you?
give you the Heat, but I'm not giving you the Cavs.
Okay, so then that's fourth, and that's not counting a Celtics with a Jason Tatum healthy off a Achilles, a year removed from Achilles injury. Now I'm not saying he like JT automatically makes them a title contender because losing Jalen Brown is huge. However, I don't think they're gonna fall off a cliff. Shoot, Jalen Brown drugged them to the playoffs as a 6 seed last year. So like
I will say this. I think there's a chance, of course, that they could start out slow, chemistry be an issue, figuring out how guys work together and everything like that. I don't see them being the sixth any worse than the third best team by the end of the year in the East.
now, when you say this, are you doing this under the assumption that Embiid is healthy the entire season? Which I would love, by the way. This is not a shake question. This is just a
I would
reality
say
question.
60 games. You can get 60
60.
games.
Mm. Don't forget the Raptors, because that Kawhi trade is eventually going to go through. Eventually, either one side is going to break
That
early on.
does okay. That don't they have contenders. They have opposition. I'm not gonna like discredit all these other teams in the East.
And then the Magic and the Pacers.
I'm not worried about the Magic. I don't know why. I just don't see them.
They're one of those people like, oh, you big and you bad, but you swing one punch and you fall over. Like it's not a you're not really like they're a good team on paper, but you are not concerned.
Halliburton coming back for the Pacers though does make the East a lot more interesting though.
He drugged them motherfuckers to an NBA championship, to an NBA final
Game
off
7.
of
Who
some
knows
of the
what happens
most.
if he doesn't pop that motherfucking Achilles?
I'm pretty sure they win that series if he doesn't pop that Achilles. He was already 3 for 3 from three. He had 12 points, and it was 7 minutes into the first quarter. So, like, based on how that was going, now the OKC Thunder are great at late game planning. However, he was busting their ass those first couple minutes. So, who knows? It's a what if, but you can't say that team is not dangerous if they beat almost every single person in their way to get
I
there
feel
and
you.
damn to beat OKC to boot. And then take them off the team and they are 14th in the East the very next year.
Woo.
The very next year. Okay, I'm not saying that they will be better than Philly. I'm also saying, though, that maybe 76ers won't be better than Indiana next year. Because remember, there's only so much ball to go around. Nick Nurse is a great coach, but how many egos has he really managed in Toronto and now in Philly? He hasn't managed a Jalen Brown. Like, Kawhi is a different beast. Kawhi is just different in general.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, he doesn't really have a good NBA ego comparison. So, but you now have two of maybe the biggest egos in the NBA. When one, they manifest in different ways. I'm not saying they're like diva wide receivers. I'm not saying that, but they are egos. Jalen Brown wanted out of the Celtics because he wanted his own team, and now he's playing with, at worst, the second best player of all time. Like it's
With
a
Jalen Brown, I guess I feel like motherfuckers are gonna understand, especially Jalen Brown. Somebody like him, he's gonna just want the ring. All the other stuff be damned.
does he want the ring or does he want the ring as the number one option? Because he left, he could with JT coming back, they could have won another ring. That is a distinct possibility.
I don't think that he's gonna necessarily put that. I think they're giving it their all this year. Again, I could see it happening next year. All of this stuff that happens in the implosion. I think this year, LeBron wouldn't have went there if he wasn't already sure that is not going to be an issue. I will give LeBron the benefit of the doubt. This late into his career, like the reports are coming out, it was the Jalen Brown trade specifically that made him want to go there. I just believe that he understands I got to make sure the egos don't become a factor. So I just believe that he's already had this conversation with him. Now, could the egos all like blow up in everybody's face in the first season, or people start to become pissy or whatever about not getting the ball? Potentially, yes.
I mean, that's always an option.
I can
Like
see
that's
it
not
with Tyrese Maxey more than anybody because of him having to be the one who was already there, who was starting to become the face of the franchise, and then have it sort of stolen away by these two guys who both, well, LeBron isn't a better player than him currently, but who is a bigger name than you and who is a better player than you in Jalen Brown. So, in VJ Edgecombe, the young guy who's trying to establish his name. Now you've got literally three fucking whales around you.
you have 3 orcas. Fuck the whales. You got
You got three orcas.
you you
Embiid
have
is
the
already an MVP who, like, maybe you probably don't have to worry about him too much just because of health. LeBron is LeBron. There's a whole, like, there's studies about the effects it has on NBA players playing with LeBron James.
both good and bad,
Right.
depending on how they take it. You know, Jalen
And
Brown found his MVP with one of the most historic sports franchises of all time. Just got done averaging 30 for an entire season and left because he wanted his own team and did not feel like he was getting the requisite respect. I mean, well, I wouldn't say even that he left, unfortunately, because he didn't feel like he had a lot of autonomy over that. He was pushed out over personality concerns.
you know
So,
what? No. I don't want to like to detract so much. I feel like it was just money. They didn't want to pay him.
mm,
They didn't want to have to do that. They're owned by a firm and everything now, so they're not owned by some billionaire who has the money to really bankroll all that. It was purely financial. I think I'm not even gonna say that they don't want to win. They just know that they have to win within a certain
they
budget.
can't pay both
Right.
him and Tatum that much money.
So with that being said, I don't I don't see the egos being an issue. I think everybody's going to be fine for this first year. The only guy that might become the real odd man out is Edgecombe, and that's just because he's young. At the end of the day, you don't really got no real spot to really ask for the ball against these guys. So it's going to just happen as long as he and Tyrese really are able to like be on board. I think the team will be fine, but I think those are the two to watch.
I wonder how they're gonna go about developing Edgecombe with all of this, right? Because like we all know, like the best way to develop the best things for your game is to do it in real time,
Yeah,
right? Like learn, like having the room to make mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and then being inserted in the situation thereafter.
maybe have him be the sixth man.
That could work. That could work, but does that mess up the thing you want him in your rotation for? Being an outlet valve in the backcourt for Tyrese Maxey and or someone else to run the offense if LeBron's not on the floor, or if LeBron wants to be playing a different role while he's on the floor, or if you need a little bit more scoring power if Embiid is not healthy,
That's a good point.
right? Like, does him being the six man give him actually too much authority and autonomy in that situation? Because he's still a young player. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying, is it potentially asking too much with too little development to this point? To asking him run the second unit. Now, there's obviously a whole bunch of different things you can do with lineups and timing and minutes and so forth, where like it's a lot less black and white than how I'm describing it. But if you think about some of the best six men that we know, Jamal Crawford being one of them. Jamal Crawford could go to any basketball court on planet Earth, get you a bucket. I mean, shoot, he dropped 50 in his very last game, which is still crazy that no one decided to sign him after that. Like you dropped, man, yeah, they could drop 50 and 7
That's a way to
off the
go out.
bench. Right? Like again, somebody who could really just who was a developed player who has a thing, they know how to do the thing and they can do that thing extraordinarily well. I just don't know if VJ Edgecombe is in that area of his career yet. And I also don't want to limit him to being just that either.
Right. We shall see. We definitely
We
shall see. Now,
shall
moving
see.
on to some of the teams that were affected by this whole LeBron James choice, one place where I want to start out is in Golden State. Golden State had they had Draymond. He had already opted out. He was trying to, help them out while they were trying to convince LeBron to come there. He's already been on the podcast pretty much saying, "Hey, I'll be the new PJ Washington or everything for y'all. I'll do whatever I have to." So Golden State is they've swung and missed on a couple of superstars. They've been trying. I'm not gonna lie and say that they haven't been trying to surround Steph by with anything at all, but it just hasn't been working out in their favor. And I feel like this was another big swing and a miss. So Cam, where do you think they go from here?
Well, they just re-signed Draymond like for 27.4, 27.7 million. I forgot how many years. This is a hot take, and I don't necessarily agree with it from a moral and personal perspective. But what if they traded Draymond and Steph to different teams, recoup a certain amount of trade value, and clear their books? And then now because Steph Curry is going to be an undrafted free, what's the word? Not undrafted free agent, but a unrestricted free agent, I believe, after next season. So, like, he could leave and leave you with nothing, or you trade the best shooter in the history of ever that is not a actual robot, and you trade Draymond with him with that salary. You clean your books, you get draft compensation in return. You have this as a rebuild for you afterwards because you're not making the Western Conference playoffs too deep with the team you have currently constructed.
I can never ever endorse Stephen Curry leaving Golden State.
I'm not saying I
I
endorse it.
can't.
I'm just
I
saying it
know,
is a
I know, but I
possible course of
cannot
action.
ever sign off or say that that's probably what they should do or anything like that. There are players that I just believe they fit where they are. They're supposed to be there. There are things that you just shouldn't do. Certain shit you shouldn't fuck with. John Cena should have never turned into a heel. Okay?
I agree with that.
There's just
I
like
agree with that.
there's certain things that just don't need to happen. And this is one of them.
I 1,000% agree. I
So
would scorn it, I would hate it, and I would probably root
I can see
actively
getting
against the
rid of
Golden State
Draymond.
Warriors as a result. But
I can see getting rid of Draymond. I don't necessarily think Draymond is that necessary, but Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. He is the Golden State Warriors. It's
mhm,
like it would have been like the Green Bay Packers trading Brett Favre. It would have been
yeah,
like the Patriots trading Tom Brady. It's just certain things that you
but
go.
both those people still left anyway. So you see what I mean? And they got nothing back for them.
It's
You have
certain
now
shit you
proven my
gotta take on
point.
the chin. It's certain shit you gotta take on the chin. If I'm a fan of that franchise, you cannot explain to me the rationale of you trading Stephen Curry. You cannot justify it
They already traded Klay Thompson.
unless you are bringing me back, unless this is a Luka Doncic trade, like that level of like a fleece of just like a guy that, yeah, he's a name, but is like past his prime or anything, getting that for a fucking superstar, not even necessarily in his prime yet. I don't want to do it. Like, you're going to have to get SGA. You're going to have to get Wimby. You're going to have to get somebody stupid for me to sit there and be like, yeah, Warriors fans, you shouldn't be pissed off about this. You got to keep him.
What if they had got Giannis?
That would have been,
I know that's a dead topic at this point because it's just not possible. But
it would have been okay.
I mean,
He
honestly, you maybe could have gotten
theoretically,
Giannis and just trading away Draymond, to be
Giannis
honest. But
theoretically has like 5 to 8 years left.
I would agree that so does Steph.
So shit, that's a whole nother chapter of your career. So I can see it. I can be okay with that. But nah, Steph is one of those guys that where like if he leaves, I'm sorry, then you tried. You can look at the fans and say, we did our best. I'm big on that. I'm big on just like there's certain it would have been like for me if the Bears would have traded Brian Urlacher.
I'm still mad they traded Devin Hester. I'm gonna be really honest with you.
I am too.
So, like, I understand your point, and I agree with your point. I'm just saying that is something the Golden State Warriors could do. I've seen way too many people who have been so dedicated to teams get traded by those very teams. So I'm not saying I endorse it. I'm just saying it is a something that is not outside of the realm of possibility.
If it happens, I'll be shocked, at least for the Stephen part of it. But like I said, Draymond, I can he I still sometimes feel like he is already outworn his welcome in Golden State, or he should have by now with the shit that he's pulled.
Only thing keeping him in there is him X amount of rings and his ability to be both a defensive player of the year and a fantastic facilitator of that all.
That's true.
But if Steve Kerr ever stops coaching that team, Draymond is gone.
Yeah, he's got to go. Now, up next, I wanted to look at Miami. I feel like they were another team that was really trying to go all in to land LeBron to try to, secure him. Without him on that team, I know you said earlier that they could be a team that end up with a better record than Philly. I don't see it. I see them as a 4
Mhm.
or 5 seed at best. Um, I just don't see it. I don't see what they have, especially I just don't really see it outside of those 2 being able to really make a dent, especially when it comes to playoff time. I just don't think it will work.
Yeah, I if we were playing it, if this was 2002, I would say the Heat are Eastern Conference favorites, just from a defensive perspective
Yeah,
and the ability to you could just have both Giannis and Bam, 1 foot in the paint, 1 foot outside. You could literally just cover the entirety of the court from inline to inline and be like, "What are you gonna do? Try something." You better start shooting from the free throw line backwards, otherwise it's just getting posted, right? But I think that team needs shooting and they need shooting bad. Like I feel like if they traded for Clay Thompson, if they traded, I don't know if the Hornets probably wouldn't give up Concanuple, but
try to get
out,
Kyrie.
I don't know, I don't know. He like
He's not gonna be on
he
Dallas
really.
the whole year. I don't think he'll stay on Dallas the whole year.
Why do you think they get rid of him? Because I heard him and Cooper Flag have a good relationship.
Mm.
At least that is what I've heard on the streets. I cannot independently verify that.
We'll see, man. I just don't I think he's so wanted. There's a lot of teams that are in need of his services that just want Kyrie Irving. So I feel like
Mhm,
somebody's gonna end up offering something for him. That's gonna be
mhm.
hard to that's gonna be hard to deny. Outside of that, though, those are the 2 teams I think that were really rooting for him the hardest. I don't really see how any team outside of them would have made a dent in the East except for Philly, like I told you the first time. So they're not my favorite necessarily. I'm still conflicted on if I'm going to pick them or the Knicks to be my favorite team out of the East. But I will say this: I still don't see either the Knicks or the Philly being able to win a second title in a row for the Eastern Conference over the Spurs or OKC.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ever gonna see I don't know if we're gonna see a repeat championship unless a repeat champion unless something crazy happens.
There's too much parity in the league right now. There's too much parity and there's too much happening every offseason. Like, I feel like every time we get to, the end of the season, there's a couple of players who just take a look at their situation and they either demand out or they just start making moves happen in their favor.
See James Harden. Not saying James Harden is not the tipper of the balance of power in the NBA as he once was, but let's be honest, there was a time in which, oh, James Harden going to your team, championship odds go up
He was
by
the
a
ex
few percentage points.
he was the example of player empowerment, of them having all of the leverage and being able to dictate what they where they go and how they go, pretty much everything. So, nothing should change after the end of next year. But for right now, I got my all eyes on Philly right now, man. I'm rooting for them. You think they're gonna get Bronny?
No, why would they do that?
I don't
Like,
I don't know.
and I only say that because, like, Bronny is a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. I think the nepotism have made people sour on him and think he's not a good player. I do think he should have stayed at USC for at least a year or two post, those heart complications, and we just kinda help him develop. But if you've been watching Bronny in the G League, he's a hooper. Now, do we all wish he was, like, 4 inches taller? Yeah, but he's a hooper still. There are dudes who are 6'2" in the NBA, right? Like, I just don't think people are I don't think now at this point any other team is as invested as making that dream happen for LeBron as the Lakers were at that time.
Right.
And so I don't see any other team really putting significant resources towards making that happen.
I agree. I think he's gonna stay on LA. I think that LeBron knew, hey, I just wanted to get you in the league and play with you for a year. But other than that, I think he's gonna just let him do his own thing.
I think he has to. I think for Bronny's sake, I think doing anything else would be abnormally selfish from a fan perspective by LeBron James.
I agree. I agree. I had to think about it for a second, but I agree. Okay. Now,
One thing I want to add to this conversation before we how much self-flagellation do you think the Celtics are going through at this moment? They not only got rid of a Finals MVP for scraps, that very trade also pushed LeBron James to their division rival. Now, divisions don't necessarily mean as much in basketball as they do in football, but those rivalries still exist. So, to possibly your biggest in conference rival, you pushed two former Finals MVPs, essentially. You made your bench weaker. You got next to nothing in return,
they fucked up.
except for some second round picks, which are, not nothing. But usually when you're talking about trading Finals MVPs and dudes who average 30 for a season,
You're getting some
you're
real
getting something more heft back. Like I remember that year, like Rudy Gobert went for 7 second round picks, which is just this was like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm like,
that
wow,
was
the market
ridiculous.
is
It was
the,
ridiculous.
the market has changed. But anywho, like, how much do you think the Boston Celtics are like? Damn, or maybe actually think about it, maybe they're not doing that at all. So maybe they're like, hey, we got Jalen Brown out of our building now. We're gonna have a fresh start. Maybe they're seeing this as a win regardless. What say you?
I I just really feel like the Boston Celtics have to look at the way things are going right now. It goes back to what I said. If you are the owner or the people who are in charge, you're happy. You got that 300 million albatross off of your books. So now you've only got one. You have the freedom to build around him. You have a top 10 player in the NBA, so you're not in a bad situation. You still got one of the best coaches in the league bar none. So you're in a position where you are guaranteed to, at the very least, you're either going to be good enough to contend for a title or you're only going to be good enough that you're at the middle of the pack. And if you're an owner who's just trying to make money, or an ownership group or a private equity firm, you're very, very happy with that outcome. You either get more bang for your buck if they overachieve, if Jason Tatum just takes that next step back and becoming who he's supposed to be, or you just get a nice little playoff team, 4 or 5 seed. You probably will either flame out in the first round or if you're lucky, the second. But either way, your team is going to get some extra money from playoff games, everything like that. If I'm the Celtics, I'm not necessarily happy. I mean, I'm not necessarily upset at all about anything. I'm happy. You guaranteed yourself money no matter what. You don't have to deal with any of that BS. And I don't really even believe that they cared about any of the personality or him thinking he was the smartest person in the room. I think that's just what every sports franchise does when they trade a big name star player. They have
They create a pretext.
they have to create something about him or just make some shit up so that the fans will not be that mad at them. And I think that's what that was with Jaylen Brown because I otherwise that's just really fucking stupid for anyone to feel that way.
So we'll see how the Celtics do this year without, because I think it's been, what, 6 years since they drafted Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there?
He was out in that, I think it was either 2018 or 2017 draft.
Oh, wow, it's been even longer. So we're gonna see. Well, I just wanted to that so the Celtics may have single-handedly shifted the balance of power in the NBA one way or the other.
They really have.
'Cause if the 76ers don't get Jaylen Brown, I don't think LeBron goes there.
I think he was heading to the East no matter what, so he probably just
Fair.
Miami. I don't see I find it hard to believe if he was gonna pick Cleveland, he would have really just loved Cleveland because I was always the part once they traded for James Harden, I said to myself, "I just don't know if I actually see LeBron going there because of that move."
He would LeBron James would have RKO'd James Harden in the playoffs. He was like, I don't
Again, yes, like,
he would have been like, "I swear to God,
LeBron
if
is
you
not
don't."
dealing with that shit. He's not dealing with a guy who is going to disappear on him when he needs it most. Like, that's just one thing I don't even know the man, but I can tell that about him. But I I'm interested to see how the East is gonna turn out. This is the first time in a long time, I think the East is gonna be way more interesting than the West. With
Really?
the West is top heavy, and not to say that it is not, like, going to be interesting, there's not a potential for a dark horse in those teams, but I feel pretty safe to say Spurs, OK Spurs, OKC, maybe the Wolves. That's it. East, I know that I said that the Knicks and the 76ers are the 2 in the driver's seat that I'm expecting. You reminded me of a couple of teams. I don't see Miami doing that. Doing Actually, I don't see Miami surprising me too much, but Eric Spoelstra is a great fucking coach.
He's a fantastic coach. I
Same
think
thing with the
he
Boston
a
Celtics.
vastly underrated coach,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
sorry. Same
Oh, you're good.
the Boston Celtics and their coach. And then you've got Kawhi out in Toronto who can just play like one of the best players on the planet when it just feels like when he finally gets healthy for those little brief stretches. So
Not even just healthy when he feels like it, because sometimes he's just gonna be feeling like it, and he can
I
come on the
I
court.
wanted to say that, but I didn't want to. It like I be hating to accuse people of shit like that, but it really do be seeming like he just doesn't feel like it sometimes.
I mean, it's not necessarily an accusation, it's more so just like what we believe we're observing. I'm not saying that that's what he'd be doing, that's just what it feels like when I see it on the screen.
He ain't lying. But with all those teams I just listed, the East just to me, Cam, I think is going to be way more interesting. I think it's going to have a lot more storylines to follow. And I think that it's going to be more unpredictable. Both like this is going to be a great season overall, but just over in the East, I think there's going to be a lot more fluctuation between 1 and 3 at the very end. So
I want to see it. I can see it.
now that we've had our basketball talk, I think it's time that we move on. The NFL is slowly coming back. We've got training camp starting up already. I just saw Bears post about having the boys out there, but today we're going to start with one of my how do I feel about this division on both sides? One of the more famous and iconic divisions. I'm talking about the AFC and NFC East. We've got the Patriots, we've got the Bills, we've got the Jets, we've got the Dolphins in the AFC, and then on the NFC side, we got the Cowboys, of course, the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Giants.
You can argue that 95% of all NFL talk is centered around these two divisions in
Yep,
one way, shape, or form.
yep. To be honest, it really is. especially the NFC East. And with that in mind, we're gonna
Because
start there.
they just be full of so much drama.
So much. The team that I want to start off first, of course, is the Giants. They made the biggest splash when they hired John Harbaugh as their new coach after he left Baltimore. Well,
Yeah.
hired from Baltimore. And in addition
Yeah,
to
he got
that,
fired. He did not leave. He got fired.
yeah, they've got Cam Scatterbo, they've got Jackson Dart, you got Malik Neighbors coming back from an ACL.
OBJ is back.
Yep, OBJ is back. I forgot about that one. Thank you for reminding me. With that in mind, man, how do you feel about the Giants?
This is going to be a nice 9-8 season for them.
You see 9-8.
I do. I do. That's just my gut feeling. But we're gonna now check their schedule because depending on their schedule, it may be less, it may be more.
Politics aside, I don't really have too many things negative to say about Jackson Dart. I think he showed a lot of poise for a rookie last year,
Hmm.
but I do think that anyone that is expecting him to come in and light it on fire in the second year is going to be sadly mistaken. And Scatterbo's an idiot. Just point blank, Scatterbo is a little bit of a dunce. I think he's got a lot of a very high motor, obviously. So I think that he's going to, keep that offense running and keep that offense, full of energy. But I don't see him being enough. I don't see that they have enough. I don't think that they have anything that's going to put them over the top in their division. I think you are honestly accurate now that I think about it, 9-8, because I don't think they're a bad team. Definitely would not call them the worst team in the division with that defense. They just blew a lot of leads last year, and I think they're gonna have to get better all around the board at just, finishing.
Hmm.
But
So here's their schedule.
uh,
Sorry, you could no, please go ahead. Finish what you were about to say. Okay, so week one against the Cowboys at home. I think that's a loss. I don't think like having a healthy CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a loss. They play the Rams at LA, starting season 0-2. Play the Titans. I'll give that one. They're 1-2. Cardinals, 2-2. Commanders, 2-3. The Saints, 3-3.
keep bringing them up.
Texans, 3-4. Eagles, 3-5. Commanders, 3-6. Jaguars, 3-7. Colts, 4-7. 49ers, 4-8. Seahawks, 4-9. Browns. Hmm. So I want your opinion on something. So I currently have the Giants going into week 15 at 4-9,
Yeah,
and they play the Browns. This is one of those things where the Browns defense or the Browns secondary has always been elite.
yeah.
They don't have Myles Garrett, but Jared Verse is a great interior defensive lineman.
I don't see the defense taking too much of a step back.
No, it just kind of helps when you have a demon up front that kind of makes everything easier for everybody. But I don't like they were never a bad secondary. They're always a very, very good secondary with Denzel Ward back there and all those others. I just don't know if this is going to be like one of those games where it's like it's a 10-7 or like a 3-7 sort of a game because neither quarterback wants to win it, depending on who the Browns quarterback is.
I could see the Browns, depending on who they start, I could see them actually being better than people expect them to be this year. I can see the Steelers actually being the team that ends up being worse in the division.
I can see that.
So for me, I don't see the Giants doing any better than 9-8, like you said. I could definitely see it being worse, but I can't see it being better than that. I think the Cowboys are going to not.
Actually, looking at it, I don't know. I think they're actually probably going to go like 4 and 5-12 at best, looking at it. Because they or so after the Browns, just say they win that game, or that puts them at 5-9. They didn't play the Lions and then the Cowboys, and then they finish the season off with the Eagles. So the only teams that I think are maybe that I'm gonna say they have a better than 51% or more chance of winning are week 3 against the Titans, week 4 against the Cardinals, week 6 against the Saints, week 12 against the Colts, and maybe week 15 against the Browns. Because otherwise, you're playing the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jaguars, the Eagles, the Texans, the Rams,
That's rough.
and then your divisional teams. Oh, and the Lions, and then your divisional teams twice. So like, there's not a lot of
They gonna get cooked like stir fry.
it. Better bring out the walk, okay? Because it's gonna be. It's not. People saying, "Oh, they're gonna look so good. They're gonna be so improved." I'm like, I don't know, dog. That schedule is hellish. Also, there are a lot of good teams that I don't know how they would do with that schedule.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have too much faith. That's gonna be rough for them. Now, the next team I want to talk about is the team that I actually think should be the worst in the division, and that is the Commanders.
Really?
I maybe it is maybe I'm still salty about the Hail Mary or whatever, but I just don't see Jaden Daniels being that guy. Like, I don't think he's that guy.
Really?
I just don't. Sorry. I think he's talented, but I think he's frail.
I think he's frail. I don't necessarily think he's. I don't think we can call him frail yet. I think that leg break was just kind of one of those freak injuries that can happen. Now, whether or not it affects him long term remains to be seen. Uh, but shoot, the Commanders don't have an easy uh, don't have an easy schedule either because they're playing a lot of the AFC. I think the NFC East is playing the AFC South from a division standpoint. So they're getting they have Jaguars games. They have a game with the Jaguars, the Texans, the Titans. They have a game. The odd games out that could go either way. I think are the games against the Bengals, the Falcons, the Vikings, and Jaguars. Otherwise, I think they're probably going to split those divisional games and probably end up at worst 7-10, maybe at best 9-8, maybe 10-7, depending on how things go. This will be this season a good bounce back season for them. I don't know if that gets them in the playoffs in the NFC, but
I just don't see them having a much better record because I see the Cowboys, like I said, I think they're gonna win some games. This will be another one of those years where they look really promising and then they get like done dirty in the playoffs in the first game they play. And for Philly, I just think Philly is well constructed. I think they are going to just be another. It's just going to be another year of them just looking like a juggernaut. And even if it's not necessarily a juggernaut across the entire league, I think they should win the AFC, not the NFC East.
who do you think is the best quarterback in the division? Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, or Jay Daniel?
What the fuck? I'm tired of y'all niggas, man. The nigga that won the Super Bowl MVP. I'm tired of niggas playing with him. I'm not even an Eagles fan. What the fuck are we doing, bro?
I'm not saying
Why
he
is that a
wasn't the best.
question?
People just have opinions.
Why is that a question?
People have very strong opinions about Jalen Hurts, one way or the other.
This nigga, you talking about a nigga that's a twig. And then on one hand, you talking about a nigga that ain't never won shit in Dak. And I like Dak. I really like Dak. I think he's a great person. I think he's
To
cool.
be fair, is that his fault or that his GM's fault?
All I know is
Yeah.
the nigga who's had great games in both of the championship games, in both of the biggest games that you can ever fucking play in, the one that's won the Super Bowl MVP, the one that's led his team there, the one that has been holding it down. I don't understand. Jalen Hurts might not be top 5, but damn it, he's 6 at worst. I'm tired of people trying to play like he's not a guy, like he's not that guy, like he doesn't.
I'm not saying he's not. I just asked a question,
I know you don't think
but it
that.
struck a
I
chord.
almost wish you would have known better than to even ask that question.
No, I'm very glad I did. I'm very glad I did. This is great content. I'm very glad I asked the
Damn.
question.
Okay. All right. But yeah, let's move on to the AFC East. Damn, man, Jalen Hurts, you don't get enough respect out here, my boy.
He do be getting disrespected like crazy, and I hate
Disrespected
that
like
for him because he's
crazy,
a fantastic player.
like crazy. Now, starting off in the AFC East, we have the Patriots. They have the most, the most
They're taking a step back.
follow.
They're not winning. They're I don't know if they make the playoffs this upcoming year.
Wow, you think it's gonna be that bad? You think it's gonna be because of all the noise?
I wouldn't even say all the noise, but okay.
I don't see
The
Vrabel. If Vrabel has a bad year, if they don't make the playoffs, this might be one of those shocking, like he might have to just go.
No, I don't think it's gonna be if they don't make the playoffs, it's not because of Vrabel. And let me break a few let me introduce a few things into the mix here while I pull up the schedule just to kind of back up my point. So last year they had the easiest schedule by far.
Yes.
And they also had the best luck going throughout the playoffs that maybe I've ever seen in my life. Like you play one of the best defenses we have maybe seen with our eyes in this generation, the Houston Texans, and the quarterback gives you 6 turnovers and you barely win, I think by maybe like 9 or something of that nature.
Still surprised the defense didn't beat CJ's ass in that locker room that night.
And you also have multiple fumbles in that game, right? You win that game by the skin of your teeth. Then you play Jarrett Stidham, and then you like it. Not saying that like I'm not saying the Patriots aren't a good team. Their defense is real, right? Drake May is a good quarterback. However, listen to their schedule real fast. And I'm not saying schedule is king, but your competition directly impacts your ability to win or not win games.
Yep.
And they say, oh, AJ Brown is a great receiving threat. AJ Brown is a fantastic receiver, bar none. However, AJ Brown may be the last of a dying breed. And by last of a dying breed, I mean diva wide receiver.
You think he's the
He
last diva wide receiver?
of his kind. Like, and by that I mean like willing to make a mess, willing to make things like crazy in the locker room. He was on the bench reading a book. Like, they don't make them that way anymore for whatever reason. Like that,
My only thing that I want to pause you on when you say that is that I just don't think that I think he's a average diva wide receiver.
yeah,
Like
that's fair.
I don't really see him as he's done some interesting antics, but I don't think he's anything that was like unique or jaw dropping. He never did anything to me that like was appalling. Like, I think back to like the way they got on TL for doing sit-ups in his port in his not his seat in his driveway and talking about Donovan and everything like that.
That's
He,
fair.
he
That's
never
fair.
him and Jalen never had open disrespect.
But it was a passive aggressive beef that I think makes this weirder for me. Not saying it's worse or better, but it's like, how do you leave a team that and a quarterback that took you to 2 Super Bowls and won you one?
Because
Because also they've had terrible they changed offensive coordinators almost every year since
yeah.
like the past like 3 or 4 years. So like
Because
I can understand the frustration with inconsistent offensive scheme,
and
but
that's
like enough to leave the team and say fuck the quarterback in that process.
because I think that he at the end of the day, he was young enough while he was winning when he got his first ring that I just truly believe that he just cares about the money and trying to get to the Hall of Fame.
I mean, isn't that everybody's goal is we get a lot of money, make the whole make it again? I don't think there's a problem with that.
And as much as and I don't think and that's why it's not a problem for me with him wanting out anything like that. My thing about it is like you. I don't necessarily know if he needed to disrespect Jalen to do that. I don't know if he should have been he could have handled it so much better because at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts might not be the guy who's putting up 300 yards and is going to feed you the ball for 10 to 12 targets and really throw you those 50-50 balls that a guy like AJ Brown is used to being able to go up and get. But damn it, he's going to win. You're going to leave behind a legacy of winning. And to some guys, that is enough. To others, they want those numbers. They want those tutties. They want everything that's going to help them in contract negotiations. They want
Mhm.
that's going to make their resume look better and look like, for lack of a better term, meteor. Pause. At the end when they're going through
Yeah.
when they're like,
More robust. A
yeah,
more robust resume.
more
Mhm.
robust. So I can't be mad at him for anything outside of the fact that I felt like he could have shown Jalen a little less disrespect because I get where you coming from, but you don't gotta down him when all this man is doing is winning, and you already know how much shit he has to deal with. That's the other thing that I don't like. You know that. And there was the instance of him trying to sign out as he left Philly, talking about peace out, the greatest wide receiver who ever lived, whoever played here. Like, nigga, you're not like, oh God. And again, I thought about that because I brought up T.O. earlier, like, bro, you're not him. But
Hey, I will say this on the back end of all this. Shout out to the brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Uh, but okay, the Patriots. Here's their schedule. First game, they play the Seahawks. They will lose that game. They play the Steelers. They'll
and
probably
I
win
like
that
Drake
game.
May. I
Play
like
the
Drake May too.
Jaguars.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback, but like, is he everything that people say that he is right now? I
Not
don't. I think
yet.
it's too early to tell. It was too early. It was too early to tell for Jaden Daniels. Too early to tell for CJ Stroud. It's definitely too early to tell for Drake May. Like, let's not move the goalpost here. Like, if it wasn't for his whole team selling, Jaden Daniels would have been in the same position his rookie year as Drake May. So like Jaden's whole team sold on him. Like I watched that in real time. I'm like, this is so unfortunate. It's happened to this young man. But they play the Jaguars. That's that's a 50-50. Then they play the Bills and they play the Raiders. Also, it helps that their division is ass. Half their division is ass. Okay. So they play the Jets, they play the Bears on Prime. That's a primetime game on Thursday. They play the Dolphins. So here's a run that I think will really test to see if they're good enough. They play the Packers, the Lions. They have a bye. Then they play the Chargers, the Bills, the Vikings, and the Chiefs. Back to back to back to back to back. Now, could they win those games? Yes. Could they also lose all of those games? Also, yes. So that's potentially 5 losses on their schedule. Actually, I'm gonna put it at 7 if you count the Seahawks for the beginning and the Bills for the beginning. That's 7 losses on their schedule potentially already. Not saying that they would lose all those, but they also could lose games that we expect them to win.
Taking a step back for sure. I just don't see them being able to replicate that same success. I just don't think they have the team for that. Not yet again. But
There's one person on that team that scares me. One. And he's on defense.
I am
That's it.
not ready to say that I don't think that Drake May is going to improve. I think he played well enough during the playoffs up until he got to that Super Bowl where he really just got outshined. And I'm not saying he played like I'm not like using the turnovers, but he didn't completely shit the bed. He just completely regressed because that was a team that I think was already overachievers who were going up and, like you said, just getting lucky. Now, I don't see them winning the division. Again, I don't see them really. I see them at most being the 7th seed or the 6th seed for the wild card. I think that's right around the spot where they would be at. They're not getting over on the Bills, who I want to bring up next because Josh Allen is still going to be Josh Allen. Um, you've got DJ Moore now, who is a great wide receiver. I miss him.
There's a reason the Chicago fans wanted him gone. Not trying to shit on the boy. He's fantastic. He made some fantastic plays. He's a great wide receiver.
I
There's a
wanted him
reason.
gone because, well, there were points where I wanted him gone because I felt like he just didn't have that effort. There's a certain level of dog that somebody like Luther Burden has that I don't often see in DJ, it feels like.
Mhm.
That's what separates the number ones who are those guys who are top 3
The
consistent.
JSNs, the Justin Jeffersons, the Puka Nakuras. Like, you can see that they want it probably more so than they want to breathe in some cases. You're like, "Hey, it doesn't," and sometimes it's not that serious.
And you compare that to a guy like DJ, who is a number 1 in talent and skill and everything, but I just don't see that high motor all the time.
Mhm.
And
He's like a Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota. You're like, you
damn, that's
see all the
accurate.
things here,
That's accurate.
we see all the things here, but we be wondering, do you even wanna be out there sometimes? Like, we be looking at him like sometimes I'm like, "You didn't really finish that route all the way. Like, you coulda caught that." Hmm. You know, other times I'm like, "Oh, you caught that?" Like, it's a wild variance.
Hey, he's the guy who caught that immortal fucking pass.
I
Oh,
remember. Mhm. Mhm.
y'all remember my reaction. So, I have no reason to think that they're going to take any type of step back. I will say, though, I think they're going to regret letting go of the coach because I don't think that this is going to put them over the hump. I don't think this is going to make that much of a difference. If they were
Really?
upset, if the owner came in and saw his players crying and said, "That means I gotta fire the coach," I think he's going to come to regret that decision.
Mm.
I'm basing their record and everything and basing them winning the division just based off the talent and Josh Allen being in the prime of his career. I don't think that there's going to I think they have less of a chance to make the Super Bowl and win now than last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, last year was their year. You had no Patrick Mahomes. You had no Lamar Jackson. You had no Joe Burrow. You had CJ Stroud putting on all-time stingers.
And again, if you can't get over the hump in that situation with a guy who I think is a damn good coach. Like I thought that was a bad move then. I thought that's somebody that you sort of keep because you're always gonna have a shot at it when you have a good coach and you have a great quarterback. Now you're going into this with an unproven coach. If he proves me wrong and they just like exceed all expectations and do better than last year or their best years under McDermott, great. I don't see that happening. I see
Mhm.
this could be the start of where things start to go bad for Buffalo again.
Really?
A year
That's an
where
interesting take,
you
I
where you
feel.
where you win a division again and you pretty much set yourself up for another disappointment, then you start to, because it's at this point, it's him and it's Joe Burrow who are the next ones who are just like, if things don't really change, if they don't get over that hump, shit, if Burrow doesn't get healthy again or the Bengals continue to suck, those are 2 quarterbacks I could see like, I don't know if I necessarily wanna be here anymore. Give
Yeah.
a damn if it's Joe Burrow's hometown, and I give a damn how Josh Allen has fallen in love with Buffalo. It's
I mean, something I wanna bring up, and I promise the audience this is not my Baltimore bias coming out, but Joe Burrow hasn't made the playoffs in 3 years.
yeah.
We keep talking about, like, the Super Bowl run, which is fair and valid, but if we're gonna discredit, or let's see, how can I put this? If we're going to bring up things from 5 years ago, Imma start bringing up people's Heismans. Fuck it. Like, what are we
And I will
that's
say that Joe Burrow gets such a long leash, and I don't wanna make this about him and take away from the AFC East or anything, but he gets such a long leash, even longer than Josh Allen, because Josh Allen gets crucified.
yeah. Well,
Not that's a strong word, strong term,
it's
but
he does get the lion's share of the blame a lot of cases when
he
sometimes
does.
his teams are not good. Yes, I'll give him that.
But to compare him to somebody like Joe Burrow, who is, I hate to say it, not there all the time, it gets a little, like, crazy to think about because Josh Allen, I think that he is somebody who, if he is on the right team, Getting him is like getting Luca.
That is actually a great comparison that I had never thought of. But no, like he puts up all the numbers. He looks great on. He passes the eye test. He's put himself in all the record books, and he's gotten himself there, but he just can't get over the hump.
He's got those obvious flaws like Josh
Hmm.
turnovers and everything.
Which he's cut down. Josh Allen's cut down the turnovers by a wide margin. But that fumble in that Denver game was just
Brutal.
ugly.
It was brutal.
It Talk about like actually backbreaking.
So Buffalo, I feel like, is on a clock in terms of getting things right, in terms of getting things under control, because when you fire a coach like that in a move that really didn't make sense, that can almost feel like that is the start of the collapse if you aren't careful.
Mm,
If you don't make the right choice, if you mistime a move like that, if you just do that when you guys are in the middle of your quest, because those quests can take multiple years. You look at how long it
mhm.
took Hayden. You look at how long it took Drew Brees.
Yeah.
If you mess up the foundation, you can make it all crumble before it gets a chance to get fully built. And I fear that might have been something that happened in Buffalo.
Interesting.
Now, the last team that we want to talk about is the one that I actually am the most interested to see, because they have, I don't know why, I sense a scary level of potential. I don't know if it's just hearing Malik
With the
Willis.
Dolphins?
The Dolphins.
You see a stereo level potential with the 2026-2027 Miami Dolphins?
Not that I
I gotta hear this. You have the floor, please. I need you to explain.
Well, damn, y'all. I like Malik Willis. I'm going to just say that. I'm going to say that I understand that they don't have a lot of talent around him, but this could be a team that, instead of going 1-16, 2-15, 3-14, I could see them winning 4 or 5 or even 6 games, playing spoiler to a couple of people. That is what I mean. I don't mean like I see them doing anything serious. I think Malik Willis is a quarterback that I liked what I saw from him when he played against the Bears last year. And I'm saying that as just somebody who hates the Packers, but I was
He hooped. I can't even lie. He hooped.
I was more annoyed by him coming in than Jordan Love. Like, he scared me more than Jordan Love.
That's interesting. But also, the Dolphins have such a hard schedule. I feel bad for them. It's gonna be rough.
That is probably why that's a big part of why I don't like it. They're no playoff team at all. Don't get me wrong. But I have a feeling that the vibes are high right there, and that Malik Willis he's got that chip on the shoulder of wanting to prove that he was worth them going and getting.
Yeah.
Free agent
Mhm.
quarterbacks going to places where they're sort of given the ball, but they're not expected to really do much. Sometimes that was Drew Brees once upon a time. I'm not comparing them at all,
Roof.
but that is sort of a potential. I some not see it. There's just
Mhm.
something about that I'm seeing right now. But like you
I mean,
were saying, there's not much else. There's not much else after him. There's not much to root
their
for.
defense is bad.
It's terrible.
Like, I hate calling a whole bunch of professionals bad at their jobs, but they're in relativity to other NFL defenses, their defense is bad. But I will say we're gonna see what Malik Willis is made of, because he's first game out is playing the Raiders, okay, but then he plays the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Vikings,
Woo!
the Bengals, all before the bye. Then they play the Jets, which is a toss-up, the Patriots, the Lions, the Colts, and the Bills. Again, they have some tough stretches. Then they play the Jets, then they play the Broncos, the Bears, the Packers, the Chargers, the Bills, and the Patriots.
That's rough.
They may end up being everybody's get-right game,
Yeah,
and by the end of the season, and I hate that, but, like, we're gonna see what he's made of.
we're going to. I
I just hope that they make some offensive line changes so that he doesn't end up on a stretcher. Because that has been the trend of Miami quarterbacks these past couple years. They've ended up on stretchers.
In Tua's case though, like Tua himself is a special case.
Yeah, but Fitzpatrick, aka Fitzmagic, also had a baby of injuries because the offensive line was bad when he was there.
You're right. You're right.
and that dude is tough as hell. So, like, Tua may be an eggshell in some cases, but, like, the offensive line for Miami has not been spectacular.
Hasn't been for a while. But last team on the docket is the team that I do expect to be the bottom feeder of the division. I There was a moment last year when the owner came out and criticized Justin Fields. That was the moment where I said to myself, I just don't know how you counteract the vibes after that. How you are really expected to like have a franchise be in a positive spot or gain momentum. And after an offseason where you didn't change the coach, where yes, you got some new talent on the defense with with your draft picks and everything like that. You infuse some new people in.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
You brought back Geno Smith as your fucking quarterback.
I mean, Geno's not bad. I just
The New York Jets are going to be a terrible football team. The way that you were getting ready to like talk about the Dolphins when I brought them up, that is how bad I expect the Jets to be. I don't see any real reason to have hope.
I
Expect
so
Garrett Wilson to request a trade. I expect Bryce Hall to regret
Brees Hall.
re-signing. Brees Hall, sorry. I I do not see things going well for them at all this year. Like I just can't see it. They have bad ownership. They have bad just everything. And it's just like they're just one of those.
I think with the New York Jets, we are encountering the thing we like to call bad vibes all around. And when I say that, like, we can use all the analytics that we want in sports, but we all know, like, it really comes down to some. This is a tweet, and I'm so sorry I don't remember whose tweet it was. Sometimes it comes down to who a bitch and who ain't. And sometimes it comes down to what you see with your eyes. You can have all the analytics, you can have all the numbers, you can have all this, but what do you see with your own two eyes?
Have not had any like semblance or felt any semblance of good vibes coming from the New York Jets organization since Rex Ryan left.
And he left for a reason. I say he hates the Jets, but like he left for a reason. I knew the Jets were cursed when Aaron Rodgers tore his
I was
ACL
gonna
on
bring it
play
up.
two.
Just gonna bring it up. They're just
But
they are not meant to do good.
I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen. I don't know who needs to be hired or brought on or what needs to be done. I don't know.
Somebody
But
like
like,
the owner needs to sell because I think he's part of like the biggest part of the juju. But you need to have like something. You need to have a
move that
special
franchise to
talent.
move the franchise to Mexico City. I'm here for it. Move it to Mexico City.
New
Done.
York does not need 2 teams anyway, 2 football teams anyway. Let
Would that be far travel for like the Bills and the Patriots? Yeah, sure. But people travel far anyway. Fuck it.
fuck them. But that's just how I like I see no real reason to root for anything when it comes to the Jets. I hope the rookies have a good season. I hope he's able to
Mhm.
come on
I
stream.
hope Garrett Wilson has a good season. I do. I really do.
I hope that he requests a trade and gets somewhere good, somewhere where he can actually flourish and shine. But yeah, no, I don't see any real reason. And you know what? I think they're gonna correct the mistake they made by letting him go past the first year. I can't think of his name right now, their head coach.
Oh, I can see his face so clearly. Is it Aaron Glenn?
Aaron Glenn.
It is Aaron
He was with
Glenn.
Detroit. He was with Detroit.
Why do I have a database in my brain? I don't know because I've not said that man's name in out loud in years.
And I wanna make it clear, I don't think that he's a terrible coach. I think that he's inherited a terrible fucking franchise position to be in. Like,
Yeah, he's just in a lose lose position.
but I can easily see him being the first coach fired.
Real. I mean, like that. I mean, do you think he finishes out the season?
If they're as bad as I think, no.
Mm.
I think
Who would you also? This is something that people say, "Oh, get rid of this person by this person." Who would replace him? Who would take that job willingly?
the thing
I
about
mean,
it is,
uh,
in the
mm,
NFL, you are not promised to have that opportunity, so there's always going to be
yeah,
a person of color at that. but
You're
if for some
right.
reason
You're right. As soon as I said it, I thought about it. I'm like, nah, people are chomping at the bit to get an NFL head coaching job.
so
So
we'll just have to see when it comes to the Jets. Like I said, I think they're gonna be one of the worst teams in the league. If I had to take a guess on how the order of these divisions are gonna play out, Buffalo is obviously gonna be number 1. I think that New England, number 2 easily, Miami number 3, and New York is number 4. On the east side of things, Philly is gonna hold it down at number 1 this year. Dallas could have a hollow, like, double-digit win season.
oh, a double digit win season is crazy. You know what the Jets would do for a double digit win season? They'd probably sacrifice their firstborn children on an altar inside of any in the in the New York Stadium. I can't remember the name of it.
That's
At Gillette Stadium.
that's what's got
Oh, no,
the
that's
madness
Patriots.
of being Cowboys fans that you almost gotta know that they're going to be respectable, like, record-wise, but you just know that even if you get to the playoffs, it's just not it's gonna fuck up at some point. They it's the curse of Jerry Jones. He needs to go away in terms of being the GM.
I will say he's been very quiet this offseason, which I think is good.
He has. He has.
Knock on wood,
Skipping
because he watch him come out at 8 a.m. in the morning.
That's why I didn't even feel the need to bring him up when we was talking about him at first because
Yeah,
he's been sort of like just chilling, doing his thing. I think that maybe Micah might have been the moment where he learned he doesn't need to letting a player like that go that I know must have like hurt. 'Cause that's
and he went in the conference too.
right in the conference. So I think Jerry's, of course, once the season starts to get back underway and everything, and he needs to, it's time to really do be lights, camera, action. He'll have a quote. He's not going to stop his radio show this year, but
He's very quotable. The fact he does a radio show is wild to me. Like you wouldn't even know what half the other NFL owners look like if you saw them on the street.
nah, not Jerry. Jerry Jones is the NFL damn near. It's Roger Goodell, then it's Jerry in terms of like ownership, who you think about.
Yeah.
But Dallas at number 2. I could see Giants are definitely going to be number 3. But yeah, and Commanders are 4.
You think Commanders are going to be worse than the Giants?
Yeah.
That feels anti-black. I don't know. I don't know.
Again,
That's crazy.
I'm hating
It's
them,
I as a
but I just don't.
self-ascribed hater, that feels like hating. Like that. What? Think the Commanders are going to be worse than the Giants?
Giants
Hey, we need to write this down. This is July 29th.
Giants got talent on their defense. I might not like Jackson Dart, but I think that he is talented enough. I like Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
I like OBJ
You
as your number 2.
you think Neighbors is better than Terry McLaurin?
I'm
Also,
not
they asked this
ready to
question determines that you never go to
I'm
DC in the
not
next
ready
5.
to say that out loud, but I think that if this is the year for him to do I think that this is the year that he'll prove that he can prove it.
You know, it's coming off of a bad knee injury, right?
No, that's what gives me pause. He was on track to being it easily. Now we'll see.
Easily. Oh, ooh, okay,
I'm
okay.
not the big
You can say it.
friend is he's good. He's a really good receiver. I gotta see him be great. I haven't really like he one of them guys that's top 10 to me, but he just ain't nowhere near my top 5. Like he always gonna be one of them
Mm,
guys I mentioned is like 11, 10, or 9.
okay. But do you think the Commanders are going to be worse than the Giants? Hope you ain't going to DC no time soon, big dog. I really hope, because they will fry your ass in some mumbo sauce for saying that. Because I don't think that's been the case in many moons
So we gonna find
outside of those Eli Manning Giants teams, of course. But like,
we are going to find out, but man, I just don't really see I don't buy the hype when it comes to Washington. I'll just leave it at that.
okay,
That is our thoughts on the AFC and the NFC East. The football season is close to starting up once again. Preseason games are going to be starting in August at some point. I haven't even checked the schedule, but I know it's coming up soon. They're going to be at weird times. So
Mhm.
I'm here and I'm ready for it. Next week we'll be talking about the AFC West and the NFC West. So I can't wait to
Ooh, juggernauts,
jug.
juggernauts and jokers is gonna be the title of that segment. Juggernauts and jokers, because boy, the mixture in those two.
It's some heavy motherfuckers to talk about in them divisions. But
Uh-huh.
that has been this week's edition of Sports Talk, y'all. I have had a wonderful time talking about LeBron, talking about all this football. It's fun to talk about football again, man.
It's so nice.
It's I love baseball, I love hockey, I love sports in general. Y'all know that.
I love competition. I can watch competitive paint dry, to be honest with you. If you give me some good narration, and maybe I could rock with it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Commentary makes everything better. But it's just so nice when football is interesting, when things are happening in the world of the NFL because it's America's pastime, y'all. I know we've said that about baseball for so long, but it's football. It's American
It's
football.
football.
We know it. And as a Bears fan, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have never been this excited for an upcoming season. To know that I've got the Madden cover athlete on my team, to know that I've got
It's a great feeling.
who is the franchise quarterback that I have been waiting for my entire life,
The
and
Bears have never had one,
we've got
and we've been to one Super Bowl. Think about this for a minute.
we went to a Super Bowl and we had never had a franchise quarterback.
We've
One
won a
was.
Super Bowl without a franchise quarterback in the
Jim
'80s.
McMahon was the closest thing, man, and he got fucked up the next year, so he was never able to really become it. So
We took Rex Grossman to a Super Bowl. I still think about that, and it makes me like, what
isn't
we
his
wasted like
name
almost a
Grossman?
Houston Texans. We raced like a Houston Texans type year defensive wise that year, and it makes me sad. But also went against one of the best quarterbacks ever.
And just didn't have it, and just kept trying to pass the ball in the rain. Like we just didn't have a game plan.
Yeah, and after Devin Hester returns a kickoff return for a touchdown to start the Super Bowl, I and all that game broke me. I
Still
was once a
sick.
Bears fan, and that game broke me. I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
Still
I
sick.
can't.
But there's so much to be excited about. There's so many storylines, and next week I can't even wait to continue on and talking about them all because we're getting closer and closer to it. We'll be here to talk about some baseball. Actually, as a matter of fact, one last thing I want to say before we go. My last little tidbit. Shout out to the Cubs, still doing their thing, still winning. I'm checking the scores on a daily, and every time I do, the Cubs are coming out on top. I have a good feeling about this year. I really do. I feel like this could be the year for pennant number 2. But
Shout out to the White Sox who beat the Yankees today and who are still atop the American League Central.
shout out to the Southsiders.
But the American League is looking like some coffin babies next to some nitrogen bombs that is the National League. Because you have the Braves, the Brewers, the Cubs, the Dodgers, who all have won over 60 games. So
Yeah, yeah. Actually, now
it's
think about it.
it's the National League is going to be a bloodbath in the playoffs. So
I'm hoping the
it's
Cubs
going to be
something, but every time I hear about the Dodgers or I hear them, I'm just reminded they just have a fucking all-star team.
yeah. I really hope either the Braves and the Dodgers knock one of each other out in the playoffs. Otherwise, it's gonna be disgusting. But
Rough.
a different time. But baseball is heating up. Good thing you have it on the background if you feel like watching it. Fun stuff be happening. Yordan Alvarez is absolute smashing baseballs into oblivion. So
Y'all already know as the season continues and we get closer and closer to October and everything, baseball talk is going to continue, is going to increase, and the chatter is going to pick up. I wanted to make sure I shout him out now because I'm starting to follow it more and more. You already know what I'm saying, Cam. It's getting more and more tight in terms of the playoff races and interesting
mhm.
everything else. Uh, I want the Mariners to sort of figure things out.
They beat the Dodgers the other night, so anything is possible,
Keep the momentum
technically.
going, boys. Just keep the momentum going. But yes. Oh, and other thing, Patrick Kane decided to sign back with the Blackhawks. I almost forgot to mention that.
So he can
I
retire.
shout out
Uh,
to them Blackhawks, man. We love to see that. We love to see them. Bedard has somebody to pair with him now. They're going to get some scoring help, which is going to be much needed. I listen, the Blackhawks for a long time when Chicago really didn't have much after Derrick Rose got injured to really root for and be excited.
They're putting up banners like nobody's
They put
business,
up
dog.
banners.
They were
They put up banners, man.
Stanley Cup had his own apartment in Chicago for a minute. Like, it was
They was giving the city reasons to have a fucking parade. So I can't.
every other year.
So
I think literally every other year.
shout out to the Blackhawks. Shout out to Chicago in general, man. I love the city. Love my sports teams out there. I love that. I feel like this just been a great year for Chicago sports, and I'm hoping it continues. I
I
really
think it
am.
will.
It's the city needs it.
Yes, yes, it does.
But Cam, I done added a little extra spiel every like 5 minutes and added like 3 things. Do you have any last words that you want to say? Take as long as you want.
I'm not gonna take too long, but hey, everybody, enjoy life, stay safe out there, drink water, and don't be afraid to do things that you love.
Mm, don't. Manish on the beat, shebang. I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry.
All those albums were trash. No, I'm sorry. Edit that out. Edit that
I'm
out.
sorry.
I mean, I stand on business, but it was a bit of a it
Hey,
was a
hey, hey.
mini
They weren't
trash out.
they weren't good albums, but at the end of the day, he gave me a nice little catchy song on all three of them. But they were ass. Trust me, I'm about to release my little mid-year album list. He's not on it for none of them.
Ooh, who? Okay, we talk about this later because I'm interested to hear who's on that list.
I'm gonna send you my top 5 that I have right now. But this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. This has been your boy Germ, my man's Cam. Hey, we appreciate y'all for checking us out. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do whatever you have to do on whatever platform that you are checking us out on. It means the world and helps boost us up in whatever algorithm that we're in. If you're on YouTube, hype up the video. Again, we're trying to get boosted in all these algorithms. We're trying to spread this shit. We're trying to spread Kinetic Aesthetic and Sports Talk across the world. And we need your help to do that. I'm on the road to getting like 100 subscribers. I'm close, but I'm not there yet. So click those buttons. But hey, this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. It's been your boy Germ. I got my man Cam right here. We appreciate y'all so much. We out.
Peace.